Hello everyone and welcome. So in today's video, we're progressing through the Tower of London and are about to embark on writing scene 3. So for those who don't know, I'm writing a Dungeons & Dragons based campaign on the time of Anne Boleyn, and in particular, her time in the Tower of London, before her execution. To recap in scene 1, and off they can't refuse, our heroes meet with a mysterious figure in the city of York Holborn, who offers them a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to rescue Anne Boleyn from the tower. In this scene, our characters talk about why, or why not, they want to rescue Anne, and this helps develop their character hooks. Before they leave, our figure gives them a copy of the key to the main gate. Our PCs then have to make their way out of the pub to the tower without being spotted. In scene 2, our heroes are scaling the south wall. This wall encloses the White Tower. A vicious magical storm rages above as they clamber over the wall and enter the courtyard. Their contact has paid the yeoman guard to avoid that area of the courtyard for 20 minutes. However, they still need to get past the ravens that are watching them from the White Tower turrets. Once they approach the gate, the shrieking head on the pike entices them to come over. The players can either kill the head or take a risk and listen to what it has to say. With a few minutes to spare, they use the key to gain entry into the White Tower. Now C3 opens with our heroes soaked and dishevelled, entering the most secure fortress in England. Apart from the sound of torches flickering, the room is silent. Too silent. Where are all the guards? Who or what is securing this tower? Cromwell will not make this easy. The title for this scene is called A Step into Hell, because if you remember from some of my last videos, I'm thinking of putting a few hellhounds in the tower, as there will be Cromwell's loyal guard dogs. For the intro, I want to get across the claustrophobia of the room, and it reads, "The huge iron gate opened smoothly, the key worked, and our players look down a narrow and dimly lit passageway. The gate closes on itself, and the thunder fades. An eerie silence washes over everyone. Apart from a steady trickle of water running down the walls and dripping on the floor, the only thing our players can hear is their breath against the damp air. The torches flicker as a low snore rumbles in the distance." If we look at my previous dungeon design, which is fairly true to the floor plans of the White Tower, I may run out of dungeon space. For this reason, I've added a passageway to the armoury. Now in this passageway, I'm going to include 2 sleeping hellhounds to spice things up a bit. Also, because this part of the dungeon is dimly lit, I'm going to make the DC for perception, using sight, quite high, rather than disadvantage, which it normally is. Of course, this won't impact on anyone with adaptation to low light. In this part of the game, I want to include a character to forward on the plot. Not a guard, but maybe an old retired guard who has nowhere else to go. The guards let him live in the tower, and in exchange, this old NPC takes up a few small jobs. The reason I've inserted this character is that my players are only level 3, and consequently, they probably won't know about the ins and outs of the White Tower, or be familiar with buildings like this. For this reason, this NPC will serve as a crucial source of knowledge, and if they roll well, they may discover something very useful. Now, I'll always go a bit overboard with backstory and lore, so let's develop a bit of lore for our seemingly insignificant NPC. So what I'm interested in is how this NPC ended up in the tower. To help the GM, I'm going to write a selection of backstory options. The options the GM chooses influences the advice our players receive and the treasure they can find. However, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to flesh out just one. Perhaps this NPC was a driven yeoman guard who had climbed the ranks of King Henry VII and King Henry VIII's army. He worked at the tower for many years and prioritised a military career over family life. The guards take pity and give him a few jobs, such as taking care of the hellhounds and the upkeep of the smaller areas of the tower. This NPC is treated with respect, as in their prime, they were a formidable soldier. I want to make this character a wily male half-elf bard, who means no harm, but should the players attack first, he will fight back and maybe awaken those dozing hellhounds further down the passageway. I will provide the GM a little description of the old bard, unless they want to use their own, which is perfectly fine. So his name is Jonesy, and let's say he's a lawful neutral half-elf. When they first encounter him, they hear him bellow, "You're not allies of the king. Who are you?" Appearance-wise, he has old crepey skin and his arms are covered in ivy and rose tattoos. He's dressed in tatty clothes that resemble uniform of sorts. He holds a flute in one hand and a short bow in the other. His beard is long and white. It reaches his waist. His steel grey hair is tied back into a braid. But what is his purpose? He takes care of running the tower and keeps watch over the pocket dimension passageway. He also welcomes allies of the king who are seeking refuge. Is he hiding anything? He most certainly is. He's an agent of Cromwell who spies on the yeoman guard, but he quietly disagrees with Anne Boleyn's imprisonment. In short, he is very conflicted. So structure-wise, for scene 3, we have an intro and a call-out box to describe Jonesy a bit more. But we haven't included a get set and go section, which is the developmental part of the scene, where the GM and the players learn more about what they need to do to move on. For Get Set and Go, we're going to describe the surroundings a little more, and explain why Jonesy is here, and expand on the purpose he serves. So, the passageway is a pocket dimension and a strong iron gate is a dimension door. It is a safe house for the king's allies to seek refuge. However, the gate only opens for those who revere the king and need his help. Since our NPCs don't tick any of these boxes, they need the key. So think of it as a panic room for nobility. The players can leave this dimension by reaching the end of the passageway and of course bypassing the hellhounds, without waking them. If the players accept Jonesy's favour, more on this later, he gives them his flute, which they can use to lull the hellhounds to sleep. We later find out Jonesy's granddaughter was a friend of Anne Boleyn, and he has loose ties to the Boleyn family through his estranged relatives. He wants our heroes to find her prayer book, which he wants to return to Thomas Boleyn, Anne's father. This element of the game is called Jonesy's favour, which I'll place in a call-out box on the page. The players are made aware of Jonesy as they enter the hallway. If the players don't attack Jonesy and strike up a dialogue with him, the following information may become available to them. He mentions that Anne Boleyn's prayer book is in the old armoury, the next room, but anything of value or importance is enchanted with a curse, which I've yet to name, but my idea is similar to that in the Geminino curse, I think that's how you pronounce it, in Harry Potter, where everything multiplies as soon as you touch it. Jonesy tells them the safest but longest route to Anne Boleyn's cell. I'm also working on this as I'm yet to design it. Cromwell has spies everywhere and his charms and curses have rendered the guards almost obsolete. If the players accept Jonesy's favour and agree to retrieve the prayer book, they receive the Hellhound flute. The last bits to cover in this scene are resolving conflict and bridge into the next scene. For resolving the conflict, we have the simple one-liner that reads, do the players accept Jonesy's favour and receive the flute? Ideally, the players won't attack Jonesy, but if they do, it will set them back, especially as they explore more of the tower and encounter those hellhounds. Bridging to the next scene is another one-liner that reads, the door at the end of the passageway clinks open and our players move into the next room. Right, that's all for today, folks, and I'll see you in the next one.